Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Talkin Kop, and this is what we are here for. By request, Arne Slot's fucking awesome Reds. It is finished at Anfield, 2 to Liverpool, 1 to Brighton, and as many people in the chat are pointing out, it seems as if we are top of the league once again. It feels very good. I'm joined by our regular crew for the post-match shows of Ashley, Chris, and Kev. Kev, these are the days that you look forward to doing post-match shows, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But we earned that. We had to work way too hard for that. And look, we had to win. When we look back at the end of the season to see who finishes where and what, this weekend will be pointed out as a really important weekend. We had to get that win. By hook or by crook, it was vital for what we want to do and what we want to achieve for the season. And yeah, we really made hard work of it in Mania. We'll get all into it, but yeah, look, delighted with the result. Came at a cost, but at the end of the day, 3 points is vital today. Delighted with it.
Yeah, and Chris, Kev says it comes at a cost. Obviously, Konate looks to have picked up something of an injury. That and the first half performance are kind of the dark linings of an otherwise silver cloud, though, aren't they?
I think performance is stretching it. Just say first half. Don't even I'd cover it there. That feels like it could be our Villa away win of 1920. It feels like one of those sort of moments where a game you don't look like you're going to win or even get a point in. You get the win as rivals drop points. And we've seen it many times with Liverpool in the past where we haven't quite took advantage of those situations. So by hook or by crook, and listen, we'll praise the manager as well because you've got to be honest, his second half was brilliant management. You know, the changes worked. First half, we'll get into it, but first half was atrocious. That was up there with the Forest at home game. It was absolutely abysmal.
Yeah. Thor, the dyslexic polyglot, who is a regular in our chat for us, and we all love him, wondering if today isn't, in fact, 5 years to the day since that Villa away, which would just be pure karma.
Let me Google it.
You Google it right now. And then Jerry 10 says, hi, all. Great win. Biggest day of the season so far. And Ashley, when the results fall your way, you got to capitalize on it. It's what Kev was saying. I had it written down in my notes just before we started scoring goals. Like, City's down. Arsenal lost. I mean, Everton lost. That's just fun. You know, you can giggle about it. But these are the days where, like, it's the stuff of champions, right?
I mean, I think what I was thinking to myself coming into this show was, is it possible to play that badly in the first half and still call this a statement performance? Because I do think at least it's a statement result. I don't know if statement performance, I don't think I can do that because for 50% of that, there was no performance at all. But in terms of statement results, I think that we can definitely consider ourselves lucky, I think, to have gotten that. But also a little bit of credit goes to Slot for really like making those tactical tweaks that we were all screaming for at halftime. And I am so grateful that there was change that happened because that really turned the game on its head.
Yeah, it's we are definitely going to get into it. But as I mentioned, it's the sort of games that teams that win the big prizes have to get those results. And speaking of big prizes and teams that win, footballprizes.co.uk, the last time I mentioned it was the Gerard Torres boot thing. That sold out in record time. So they've come up with another prize. It is an 18-19 Champions League theme set of prizes. There's a jersey that's signed by 6 players. It's who we got: Van Dijk, Trent, Allison, Milner, Lallana, and Robertson signed on it. There's also a couple of hospitality tickets in there. So the tickets are $3.95 a piece. They're selling just under 1,000 of them. So head on over to there if you're feeling a little bit lucky. Kind of like how we felt at moments today. And Kev, the lineup drops. We get a pile of changes from midweek as we expected with the, from a League Cup to a league game. 3 changes from last weekend. Happy with the lineup? Was it exactly what you expected, or did you think Diaz was going to get the start?
No, look, I mean, you could have made the arguments for Cody or for Diaz. I mean, at the end of the day, both of them are outstanding left wingers. But Cody's in form, fresh from 2 goals against them midweek. So no problem with that, to be honest. I mean, it's always going to be a case. It's one or the other. It's an easy pick, to be honest, because either one you go with are going to be fine. You're not going to worry about it. The biggest one really was Costas for Andy Robertson, but in fairness, I think we all telegraphed that with the lineup from midweek. Look, that midfield 3 or midfield 2 is what you'd expect to be starting most games. So yeah, the lineup itself was fine. I looked at their lineup and I thought I didn't know how they were going to line up, whether they could have played with a back 5, potentially. But it was always going to be interesting to see who would play where and how we would line up against them. But yeah, no problems with the lineups whatsoever. I honestly looked at the starting 11 for us and thought, yeah, no, we have too much for these. We should have too much for these.
Well, you were eating those words for about.
Oh yeah, with ketchup.
Yeah, you mentioned the Brighton lineup. I mean, they go with Veltman, Van Hecke, Igor, Julio, Estepinian at the back, and then Cadiolo, who played as a fullback in midweek. Chris, he slots in as, I wasn't sure either, but they had him ostensibly as the right side of the midfield. And I mean, with the exception of, my first note I have in the whole game is an awful pass by Trent, and talk about foreshadowing. We get Darwin's lovely piece of skill where you're just begging him to score, but then it's Cadiolo who pops up for Brighton, and that's a kick in the teeth that goal was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for the Darwin one, it's just great individual work, which we know he's capable of. And to be fair to the keeper, it's a really good save. For their goal, when you watch the replay back, you try to work out why is he so open. I mean, listen, I think Kev mentioned he wasn't happy with Keller's footwork because it can only go in one place. I mean, he does go posting in, so it is as far into the corner as possible. When you watch it, you see the guy running off. You see him run behind Maka. Maka sees him, looks at him, and at no point thinks, "Fuck, I should get to cover behind Costas," because Costas can't have him, because Costas has done the right thing, which he's come across to help Virgil, because we've all moved along one. So it was just rank bad defending. But I felt the midfield just didn't work, as in Gravenberch and McAllister were always getting overrun. McAllister was giving sloppy free kicks away. He was slowing the ball. Szoboszlai was neither here nor there. He wasn't pressing really high with the aggression we see him. He wasn't dropping back deep enough to help. So that whole middle, Brighton did their own work and bypassed Liverpool really well. And that's not the first time we've had that 4-2-4 issue, which maybe that's the only thing you've probably got to say with Slot is that's about 2 or 3 games now in a row where we've had that 4-2-4 causes problems. And I don't think we react quick enough. Like second half, we'll talk about it. Kev could give a brilliant explanation of the tweaks he made, and it worked. But there are times where, can you not do it during the game or during the first half? Because he didn't do that in the Arsenal game for those last 15 minutes, and it was obvious that the midfield was getting overrun, and it cost us. And it probably should have cost us more than it did. The only thing I could say about us was when you're going into half time and saying, "Thank God we're only 1-0 down," that says it all.
Yeah, that's never the situation you want to be in, where you're even with 5 or 10 minutes to go in the half, just going please get to half.
Yeah. I have no problem giving Costas his flowers when he deserves them. And to be fair, Costas was absolutely fine today. Even managed to survive not getting killed by the captain. Yeah.
Virgil van Dijk seemed like he was on a one-man mission to increase the number of bodies we have in the treatment room today. Ashley, there's a lot of people that seem to have taken the same thing out of that first half that I did in terms of both Alexis McAllister and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like Kieran B saying they were both sloppy. The one thing, and it will come up in the second half because I thought it was really on show in the second half, but just before the goal, Trent puts in an excellent tackle on Matoma. And I thought it was such a lopsided game from Trent today where his attacking play, with the exception of that one ball he put in for Gomez where everybody got really excited that he might actually score a goal, his passing was fucking dreadful. But I thought defensively Trent was really good. But on the other hand, I just thought McAllister was cool.
Ashley's ignoring
Ashley seems to have been a little frozen there.
I think Ashley might be frozen.
Yeah, I'll kick her out. Ashley, if you can hear us, come back in again. Kev, why don't you
Look, the way we set up in that.
McAllister, because I think that's
Oh,
about the worst game I've seen play.
There were so many players in our midfield and back line totally exposed by the way that Slot set us up in the first half. It was amateur hour. I mean, the 4-2-4, pressing with 4 players up front with the way Verbruggen can distribute out from the back. They passed around us for fun. It was so easy. And then when you've got players running at you, it's a nightmare, especially when one of them is Mitoma being supported by Estupiñán. And Trent was absolutely massively exposed. Didn't get any support from anyone around him. If you're playing with a 3-man midfield, at least Szoboszlai could come out and double up and try to get there. Or Salah could track back once in a blue moon and support him. But that didn't happen at all in the first half. It was absolutely atrocious. And you could see it unfolding right the way through the first half. From the 10th minute onwards, it didn't stop. And they were able to play through us at will with ease. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what defensive, back four you're putting out. You're going to get exposed. And we were. We were dumb lucky that we only went in 1-0 down at halftime. Brighton will be kicking themselves massively that they should have really arguably gone in 3 up.
I thought that Welbeck free kick was in.
The Welbeck free kick, give credit to Kelleher for the way the wall was set up. I mean, if that's on target, it clips the wall going around it. The other one really was the one for Rutter when he's 1v1. He's in with Virgil, and
what a pass!
He keeps it's a great pass, but he keeps Virgil on his right hand side. Virgil can't get across him to make a tackle, and he should have finished it. It was a really good bit of goalkeeping. But throughout that first half, you could tell a mile away that Szoboszlai needed to drop back, needed to be pulled back by someone. If Slot wasn't going to do it, someone else needed to pull him back and say, look, we need 5 minutes here of you sitting in a 3, get us some control on the ball, and then we'll go again. But it just never happened right the way through the first half. And I swear to God, it was pure dumb luck that we only went in 1 down.
Yeah. This comment here from Richard Lefebvre, I think is valid. It's some mitigating factor that McAllister's been taking a beating too. Opposition seems to focusing their physical play on him. They know how important he is. He does seem to get in every single game he plays an absolute kicking at a couple of points from whoever.
And today he literally got a kick into the ribs in the box. Just so happens he got a header he got a header on target first.
Yeah,
but it seems like as long as you get a header on target, it's okay to kick you in the head.
Well, I mean, the Hinchcliffe on first half, he just looks at him, watches him, and just goes, "I'm just going to smash you to the floor," right in front of the ref, and the ref went, "Yeah, it's fine."
I mean, in fairness, there is a case that he could have had a second yellow.
He should have. He was a lucky boy.
He should have walked. On another day, he gets a second yellow, and we're down to 10, 1-0 down. So look, it wasn't his best day. It hasn't been his best 2-3 weeks, to be honest. But he's got too much quality not to be able to turn it around. But I think at times against certain opponents, especially opponents who are really comfortable on the ball, who can pass through the thirds really comfortably, you have to be prepared to suck up what you want to do yourself to accommodate who you're playing against. And I for the first half, we didn't. We showed Brighton absolutely no respect whatsoever. And that was as good as a 45 as I've seen Mitoma playing against anyone for a while. Because he's the last person you want to be able to get on the ball with 10 yards in front of him to be able to run in with. Because he's comfortable going either way. He's comfortable laying off a short pass for a 1-2. He's comfortable drawing a fullback out and going around him. He's as good a winger as there is in the league. And Trent was sloppy with his passing, but I'm not going to hang him out for his defending because he was hung out by everyone else. He got absolutely mullered all day in that first half because he had little to no support.
Yeah. I don't think on today's game, I don't think Trent deserves really any criticism for his defending because, again, I thought his defending was actually quite good. It was the stuff we normally expect Trent to excel at that he was quite terrible with. Ashley, welcome back. Pardon me. They mentioned while you were gone the chance that Rudder had from the incredible pass from Ayari, where Van Dijk does just enough to get back. Kelleher makes the save. And then we have a little period there from that chance until about 34, 35 minutes where we actually look to be in the ascendancy. And there was just, I don't know, we couldn't really do anything with it. And then after 5-6 minutes, having a little bit of momentum, we don't get any positive outcome at the other end of the pitch. And then it just seems like we went back to panic stations for the rest of the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what just happened with the power, by the way. So sorry about that. With regards to that, it was interesting because right around 28 minutes, I don't know if you saw, but Slot pulled Gravenberch aside. There was a free kick. And he was in such deep conversation with Gravenberch, like right at the start of that good period. And I don't know if it was specifically just him that he was tweaking or if it was a message that he sent out to the rest of the midfield, but there was definitely a period of control for I want to say about 10 minutes. Like, it wasn't a huge period of control. It was about 10 minutes. But I agree. I think that it just wasn't sticking. Whatever the tactical tweaks were that Slot was trying to implement were not getting across to enough of the team members for it to actually stick. And I think that's why, as we were approaching 45 minutes, all of us were just saying, get to halftime. It's going to be a huge halftime for Slot. Like, we were talking about how there were so many things that were not clicking. I mean, the press wasn't clicking. The shape looked wrong. There were so many pockets of space that were available on either side of our midfield or kind of through our midfield for them to get a ball into one of their wingers. So I think getting to halftime with the score just at 1-0 was an achievement in and of itself. And I want to talk a little bit about Slot as we go, because I think that he made the biggest difference in this game overall.
Yeah, it's that's definitely a big talking point we have to get to as we come to halftime. Bracky, just before halftime, though, we have a tiny little flurry of corners at the end, and on the final corner of the first half, which was our sixth of the half, the Trent ones were terrible. Simicas's were a little bit more dangerous, but it's a Trent in-swinging corner, and Ibu Konate, the second victim of Virgil van Dijk's one-man wrecking crew today. And now we get the lovely day or two of speculation on what his injury is going to be, but it doesn't look like a good one.
No, we didn't know. I mean, you can see Virgil stands on him. Not meaning to, he falls in front of him. There's mixed reports. Some have said on LFCT, they said it's potentially broken fingers. Others have said it's a dislocated wrist or elbow. The best case scenario for Liverpool is broken fingers, because you can tape them up and, you can still play with broken fingers. It's painful, but you could do it. If it's any sort of dislocation, from what I've read, you're talking 4 to 6 weeks. And it's a bit like it will be a bit like the Jota also will fall now. It's just one of those freak injuries that you can't do without, which is a blow, because actually I think Ibu's been excellent since he came in at halftime against Italy. He's been excellent for us. Really, really good. What makes me feel slightly more relieved is, remember what Joe Gomez looks like at centre half. He was absolutely superb second half. That is the Joe Gomez we saw in the 1920 season. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing that you can replace a player like Jarrell Kwanzaa, who we all think very highly of, in that first game at halftime with Ibu Konate, and you just go from, I mean, it wasn't strength to strength, but you know what I mean, that Konate came in and it was like, yep, this is amazing. And then Konate finally stays fit for a prolonged period, which is everybody's concern about him. And then eventually he goes down, and it's the same thing. We just replace him with Joe Gomez. But we get to halftime. Obviously, that change gets made. I would have liked to have seen Curtis Jones come on for Alexis McAllister at halftime. Seeing as we're at halftime, I'll quickly throw in my obligatory mention that we are still raising money for our two charities, fan-supporting food banks, the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin. You'll always find the GoFundMe link in any of the show descriptions, whether you're watching live or catching up afterwards on YouTube or on a podcast. If you can help us out with a donation, that is absolutely fantastic and very much appreciated. But if not, please just share the link to the GoFundMe in your social media accounts and just try to get the word out there and help us on our goal to raise that money. And if you're in here, hit the like button. If you want to become a member, $3.99 a month, all the goodness that comes along with that. But Kev, I'm really excited to let you talk about this because before we came on live, you were talking about some of the tactical changes that Arne Slot mentioned, which Ashley was alluding to, that we made at halftime. So give it to us. What did you see that Arne Slot changed at halftime?
Well, the first thing he did straight away was Trent inverted directly into being a second six. So it was literally throw the shackles off and give Karim Matoma space. You know, it was like, look, we're going to do this. He's going to have space. We'll deal with him if he gets the ball. But by putting him into the second six, it gave Brighton something to think about. It gave us an extra body in the middle of the park. And it blocked off a lot of the passing lanes that Brighton were able to play through really comfortably. And, I mean, Trent's passing still wasn't absolutely, you know, where it needs to be by any stretch. But just physically having him in there gave us a numerical advantage that we could, and a platform that we could work from. They couldn't come and directly press our two centre-backs on the ball because the simple pass into Trent or into McAllister or into Gravenberch was always on. The biggest thing that I spotted early was how we pressed them, how we pressed their goal kicks in the second half compared to the first. First half, we pressed their goalkeeper, or whenever they had the ball at the goalkeeper, with front four. Left mid, right mid, Szoboszlai and Darwin, front four, supported by two midfield who didn't know whether to stick or twist. And they just twisted and stayed home. So there was no pressure on the ball whatsoever, and that's how Brighton were able to pull through it. The first thing he did is he literally changed after a 4 to a 3, made it narrower, and said to Brighton, okay, you're not coming through the middle. You can go wide if you want to. But if you go wide, there's two players marking your two fullbacks who are trying to make runs going into like halfway inside each half. So he blocked off that space. And he also had the extra security of having Trent in as a third midfielder. So he literally shut the door by making one small move. And you could see it was notable from the start of the second half right up until we went 2-1 up. They really struggled to play out from the back. And that's all it took was organization and a press in a different way. Nothing wrong with pressing our keeper at all. It's a good way to do it. But if you're doing it and you're not all in it together, you're too easy to play through. And by just making that one tactical tweak, it forced Brighton to do things that they didn't want to do. And that gave us a platform to then grow into the second half. And we did. We grew into the second half. Kelleher really didn't have much to do in the second half in total. But a lot of that was down to us being a lot more aggressive in how we attacked and how we tried to win the ball back in better areas. And we hunted in packs. We were more like a Klopp-style Liverpool than a passive Liverpool, if you know what I mean. We were much more aggressive, much more hungry for it. And the crowd got in the back of that. And the crowd was up as well in the second half. And it all flowed from there. But it was literally, like Ashley was saying, Slot was going to earn his money in the second half. He did. He made 2 or 3 really big changes tactically that affected the whole way the second half played. And we were much better side in the second half. Way, way better.
Yeah. It's I'm presuming that went to mitigating some of, because something that was making me absolutely raging in the first half was the amount of space that Purvis Estupinian had. That it just seemed like there was this massive box between where you'd expect Gravenberch or Szoboszlai to be, where Mo Salah and Trent were, that Estupinian would just sit in this huge area of space, and no matter how we pressed them, all that Verbruggen needed to do was just clip a ball into that
most
space.
most of the time in the first half, what was happening is Van Hekken would have the ball, Veltman would have the ball, and he'd suck players into it. All the while, Estupiñán is just going for a walk up the pitch. And Mo's not following him because Mo's trying to close in on his keeper as well. So you got 4 players trying to press the ball. Estupiñán's already gone. And that would isolate Trent 2v1 with Estupiñán and Mitoma, who know each other's game inside out. They've been playing with each other for years. So I don't care if you're prime, Cafu, you're going to get hammered by those two. So it was their pattern of play that benefited them in the first half, and we snuffed that out in the second half just by making a few tweaks.
Yeah, I mean, that tactical change, Ashley, and the substitution that was obviously enforced, but Gomez came on and he was just excellent. And it's really great to see the new manager coming in. I mean, we're a quarter of the way through the league season now, so he's not that new anymore, but we needed to see a change from the first half to the second half. You know, you can throw all the cliches out, like this is where Arneslot has to prove his worth, you know, and we did. And I mean, it was like a minute into the second half and Joe Gomez almost scores. And it's like, Arneslot, I absolutely love you.
I mean, Joe Gomez was a revelation. I texted you guys in our Telegram or in our chat saying what a huge opportunity it was going to be for him to come on and play in his favored position and, you know, get some time in a real Premier League match, because I don't know how many minutes he's gotten. It's just sort of been tail end of games to like close things out. But what an opportunity for him to come in and put a stamp on things. And that's exactly what he did. And I don't think I've ever seen Joe Gomez actually get into such good positions to score, because we always kind of see him like taking a couple shots from outside of the box when everyone in the crowd's going shoot, and we all kind of get angry at him. But there were a few times where he was legitimately in fantastic positions. And honestly, if it had fallen to anyone else, we probably would have had more goals on the score sheet. But I mean, credit where credit is due. I mean, I'm going early. He was my man of the match, because everyone always takes my man of the match. So,
well, here I was going to be nice today and come to you first.
That's a disqualification, that, Matt. It doesn't count, Matt.
Yeah.
You took like 3 of them last time.
Well, you got to be quick.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing.
This is cheating. This is pure cheating.
That's very Max Verstappen tactics by Ashley there for anybody that's
Ferry Man City.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Ouch. Hey, that's a bit much. That's a bit much.
It's a low blow.
Yeah. I mean,
listen, I'm a 10-hour flight away, so I feel I'm safe. To be honest,
I don't think it's quite that long, but I get what you're saying.
Next time.
It was there was another ball. I got to give Trent a tiny bit more credit. He had another absolutely fantastic ball that he played in the 54th minute where Virgil van Dijk should score. I don't know how much it was Darwin getting in his way or just misjudging the flight of the ball, but we get to that point where you're coming up on the hour mark. You know that the changes are about to start coming. I've got, let's see here. We must score soon. Time-wasting protocols in effect. Trent floating around the pitch, coming into the game a little bit more. And then we get the changes, and I think the substitutes completely change the game.
Yeah, I agree. I was shouting at half-time for both Jones. Jones coming at half-time. I took McAllister at half-time.
Yeah.
Especially when he probably should have been sent off. So, and I was happy with Diaz coming on. Is
the second yellow card the one where he definitely gets the ball and Danny Welbeck goes to the ref and demands that he call a foul on McAllister?
No, there's one about 50 in where he doesn't get anywhere near the ball. It takes him out. It's if he wasn't booked, he definitely would have been booked. He was a lucky boy. So I was happy with Diaz come on. Probably the slight surprise was that he took Szoboszlai off. Not a bad thing. So I thought, right, okay, we're definitely going 4-2-4, then 4 proper forwards on. And we've had mixed success when we even on the clock when we used to go, let's put all 4 forwards on. It very rarely works. But to be fair, it did really well. And that's where you start to see it. But I thought Curtis Jones, when he came on, was excellent. That deeper midfield role suits him like a dream. Just a break from deep, and that's kind of what we missed. That's what McAllister doesn't give you, because it's not that type of player, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's horses for courses, but I, at the moment, feel it should be Gravenberch, Jones, and one other, based on form. That's what I think at the moment. I think Jones should be starting the next 2 games, and I think McAllister and Szoboszlai have a bum fight over who gets the other starting spot.
I like the notion of it having to be a bum fight. That's great. It's yeah, the changes seem to come. I had them down on 66 minutes. And I mean, I'll stick with you on this, Chris, because now we get to talk about the best part of the whole game. Yeah. I mean, it's 2.5, 3 minutes later, and Darwin Núñez doing good things by not doing anything.
Yeah, he just distracts the keeper, doesn't he? We've seen loads of free kicks like that, haven't we, where you just go for it, and if you miss it, it's there or thereabouts. I was pleased it was Gakpo, because he's probably the most informed forward that we have. And it just adds to his League Cup goals. He's got goals in the Cups, he's got goals in Europe. He hasn't done too much yet in the league. So I think that did him good, and it's a big goal, and again, Gakpo just looks great off the left. So once we got it to 1-1, I fancy them to go on to get the win. As Kev knows, because Kev has to put up with me during games. My nervousness before we equalised was we were missing too many chances going up. We've seen this already at Forest, too many chances missed. This is not going well, not going to go well. Once you go to 1-1, you're like, I fancy us to do that. I didn't expect us to do a 1-2 in about 3 minutes, but, I'll take it.
Yeah, there's a quick fire nature about kind of what we're seeing in the early days of the Arne slot machine working. It's either we go down and equalize right away, or we get these bang bang goals that come like that. I mean, Ashley, you can feel free to talk about the Gakpo goal, because I didn't really see exactly how it came about, because I was fuming that we weren't scoring, and then we scored and it was all happy days. But it's, I don't know, 120 seconds, 100 seconds later, and I was fuming watching it live with Curtis Jones, because so I'll walk you through the goal and tell you where I was fuming from it. They have a free kick or something along those lines. It comes to Reuter. He tries to take a swing at the ball. It bounces off his standing leg. And then Curtis Jones is excellent. Takes the ball, drives forward, a 1-2 with Diaz. And when he gets the ball back from Diaz, I'm looking at my TV and I see Darwin peeled left, onside, acres of space. And it's like, get your head up. Curtis Jones, what are you doing? And it's like, well, the chance is gone. And then Mo Salah.
Mo Salah does Mo Salah things. That's his goal. Like, we were talking the other day about what Gakpo's signature goal was, and I think this is kind of Mo's signature goal. I think you could argue that, like, those little close dribbles that he had against, like, Everton and Watford, and I think Spurs and City, obviously. Those are his two kind of signature goals, but that was an amazing strike. And I do think that Jones did all of the hard work for that. But that is 10 goals in 15 games against Brighton now for Mo Salah. That's his third most scored against club behind Arsenal and Man United. And that brings him into the outright 8th spot in the Premier League goal scorer table above Robbie Fowler. So he continues to just do, again, Mo Salah things every single week. And again, another stat was that, 55 goal involvements since the start of last season, which is just outrageous. It's outrageous.
It's the best one season for a one-season wonder ever. The fact that it's now coming into its 8th year.
No African Player of the Year nomination, no Ballon d'Or nomination. Like, he just gets completely overlooked in all of these things, and it's crazy.
Yeah. It's that being overlooked by kind of the rest of overall football is something that really makes me think that he's going to stay, because there is no doubt that the Liverpool fans and people that love this club respect and acknowledge everything that he does. Kev, give me your take on the 2 goals, because it's just from that point on, my notes all get a little bit shakier. I was absolutely vibrating with happiness and excitement, because it was just, we needed it so badly. We made the changes that we needed to make tactically, and big players stepped up in big moments.
Well, the first goal, it was, the cross that came in, Darwin doesn't duck out of it. Darwin goes for the header, and Igor gets his elbow on the back of Darwin's head, pushes it down. The keeper is in no man's land, because he can't react until the ball is past where Darwin was. By then, it's already in. It's too late. It's one of them. You'll see that goal once a month. Where keepers stop between one mind and the other mind, and he does neither. But yeah, I wonder what would have happened if Igor didn't get an elbow into the back of Darwin's head, because arguably Darwin could have just headed it straight into Verbruggen's hands. It was just one of them. But 1-1, you're like, yeah, I felt that we were in the ascendancy at this stage. We'd had a few half chances. We had 2 really good chances. Joe Gomez had 2 headers, and Virgil had a chance where all you wanted him to do was put his head through it, and he tries to cushion it down with his right foot and side foot it in. It just felt like it was coming. We were definitely the much better side up until these goals. The second one goes in. it was the complete total opposite of the counter attack that we did in the week, where we fluffed our lines. This was brilliant. And to be fair, Mo Salah had a quiet game, really quiet. And when you describe his trademark goal, he chops back onto his left foot, moves the ball out of his stride, sets it up outside the post, and curls it back in. He's been doing it now for 9 or 8 seasons. No one's figured out how to stop him yet. And he'll be more involved in games and won't score throughout to the end of the season. Today he was virtually almost anonymous in a lot of aspects of today, and he pops up with the winner. So that's why Arne Slot leaves him on. That's why he rarely gets substituted with time to go, because he's capable of that. As for the Ballon d'Or and African player, he's the best African player
ever.
No, he's in the conversation with the best African player ever. He's definitely the best African player to play in the Premier League, and without a shadow of a doubt, he's the best winger to ever play in the Premier League, bar none. And you can throw in Ryan Giggs, you can throw in whoever you like, throw in the dinner. It doesn't matter. Mo Salah is the best winger to ever play in the Premier League. He stands alone in 8th in the all-time scoring records, ahead of Robbie Fowler. Go and look at that list, and you'll see 2 players who aren't out-and-out strikers. Frank Lampard is a penalty merchant, and who literally played as a second striker his entire career at Chelsea. And Mo Salah's a fucking winger. It's obscene what he's doing. It's absolutely obscene. It's literally taking what Messi done in Spain, transported it into the Premier League, and his consistency is off the scale. I mean, Messi's on another level completely, because Messi's just a joke, but Mo Salah is as close to that the Premier League has ever seen. I mean, there's still Chelsea fans will throw in Eden Hazard. And you'll have to. Sorry. No, but this is what I mean. You have to sit there and almost swallow your tongue and say, "What?"
This is a fellow went.
It's like
Spurs. This is a fellow went nearly a year without scoring.
But Spurs will throw in Gareth Bale. It's like, yeah, Gareth Bale's really, really good, but Gareth Bale was never this consistent. Manchester United will throw in Ryan Giggs. Yeah, well, Ryan Giggs played in the left mid. He wasn't really an out-and-out goal scorer. Mo Salah's an out-and-out goal scorer from the wing. You just don't see this. It doesn't happen. The guy is an absolute freak of nature. And look, if he decides to stay, delighted with him. If he doesn't, and he decides to go off to pastures new, it's literally going to be we'll be talking about Mo Salah with our kids and our grandkids and say we were here and we saw it. He's one of them. There isn't many that you'll sit there and you go, okay, we're going to do an all-time Premier League, an all-time Liverpool 11, and this position are already locked off. He's one of them. You can have discussions about a few others, but he's one of 3 or 4 that are just locked. He's up there.
I think if you're making an all-time Premier League 11, if you set it up in a 4-3-3, I don't even know if there's even a question that he's your right.
There isn't. There's no doubt.
You'll get some anti-Liverpool people that might try to argue against it. Ashley, I'm gonna break my own protocol here. I'm gonna bring a couple of your quotes up because they go along good with something else I wanted to mention. Slot afterwards, he says, "I told the players that 45 minutes of the football in that first half will hurt us at some point. The fans were incredible in the second half. Let's go again on Tuesday. A lot has happened this season, defending leads, fighting back. So this is a win you need to be competitive because you can't always be the best team on the pitch. We fought back. I asked them to play different second half to Forest, different mentality. Winners showed up." You mentioned it that there he is. That Forest thing is going to bother him.
That's going to be the headline of his
lives rent-free in his head. That's his Roman Empire.
Yeah, but I think the other part of that was, and somebody else had mentioned it here, Kieran B a little while ago, Anfield was very good today. The second half was just bouncing.
Yeah. Even my commentators were talking about how the fans were trying to suck it into the goal. And that does happen on occasion at Anfield where you can actually hear it over the live comms, and I could hear it today. And we needed it. We absolutely needed it. I think, whatever percentage of the improvement was on Slot, the other percentage was on Anfield. And the fans that showed up today, it was fantastic.
Yeah, there's just something extra special too about you make that substitution and you bring on Luis Diaz and you just get those rolling renditions and it just there's something about the way that it comes through the TV and it's just
love that song.
Oh,
I love that song.
It is an unbelievable ditty. Whoever came up with that, I'm presuming it was Traveling Cop, fans on a bus to an away game somewhere, something like that. But it is absolutely brilliant. And if that's the soundtrack that underpins this season and takes us to some silverware, then all the better for it. Chris, we get the 2 goals, bang, bang, real quick like that. Ashley said it was 12 seconds from the time Jones gets the ball in our box until it's in the back of their net. That quick strike reaction to get the lead from it. And then we see the game out from there. I don't have, I think, any real chances for Brighton from the end, like from that 71st minute to the end of the game. And that's the slot ball that we've seen earlier this season.
That's because we went practical. This is when you go practical. Right, Endo's coming on. We're just going to sit now and have what we hold. And Liverpool now still hold the record in the league of not conceding in the last 15 minutes of the game. So, I mean, when he brought that up, I did hate that because I was like going, oh, that's just tempting. Yeah. That's tempting when you shut the fuck up. But admittedly, they brought that same stat up against Arsenal, saying Liverpool haven't conceded in the last 15 minutes, but they haven't scored in the last 15 minutes, and we broke that hoodoo. So it's becoming a nice habit. Credit to Endo because, he had a difficult game against Brighton, but he came on, and this is the role Endo's perfect for in these sort of games, is bring him on for the last 10, 15 minutes and just basically say just kick players, run through them, and lay it after someone good and go back into position. And he's quite happy to do that. He knows his limitations. He knows what he's good at. I mean, at one point, he literally went to a tackle with 3 lads and still came out with the ball. He went, oh, this is the Endo we love. So it was brilliant. And that's what we did. And Bradley came on for literally 4 minutes. I think his first touch was he just floored one of their wingers and went, that's fine. That's all you need him to do. And then
like 30 seconds after,
there's a lot.
30 seconds after that, Bradley is under a high ball, 1v1. He wins the physical battle with his man, holds onto the ball, wins a free kick to help kill the game off. And it's like, perfect. That's what I want to see. If you're bringing Connor Bradley on from Mo Salah, it's to see the game out and doing little bitty stuff like that.
It's becoming a nice habit that when we eventually get a lead, we're making it. In terms of chances created, there aren't masses. I mean, I don't think Keller had a thing to do in the second half.
I don't have any.
Which is testament to them because first half they were really, really good.
Yeah.
So to keep them quiet, and let's be clear on Brighton, that's their second ever loss in the league this season. The only other team that's beaten them is Chelsea. They've drawn with Arsenal, they've beat United, they've beat Spurs. They've got
City next.
They've got City next. Brighton are no joke. Brighton are a horrible team to play. So for us to get 2 wins over Brighton in a week, cool. That's what you need to do. And as City have found out, beating Bournemouth is for everyone.
Well, out of all the fruits, the cherries are probably the most dangerous when you're at the top of the tree.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked. I just came up with that right now. Scouser Pete, I'd love to see Endo and Millie have a yellow card battle royale. Yeah, that would be something else. Ibu Konate would also probably like to get in on that too. Alexis McAllister's also not afraid of a yellow card. Yeah. I mean, another comment here. I'm just going to jump this one in too from Ashley. Wataru Endo, not Ashley's comment. It's from Wataru Endo that the atmosphere in Anfield was crazy. They created an incredible atmosphere. We feel like we played with a +1. It's just it's so great for Arne Slot to have that early on of like big moments like that where again cliches where it feels like the Kop is sucking a ball into the net and we're playing with an extra player because we have the people there. We have the crowd there behind us.
One more thing saying Endo though, his professionalism does need to be praised because he knows it and everyone else knows it. We tried to get rid of him. He knows he's not Slot's ideal midfielder and he hasn't got many chances. And what's he done? Head down, cracked on. No leaks in the press. No, he's not happy with this. No, he just gets his head down. When he gets his chance, he takes it. And whenever he's been asked about it, he's always deflected, going, when I get my chance, it's up to me to take it. And I think that mentality, a few more probably gifted players could do with that, which is like you wait for your opportunity and it's up to you to take it. And to be fair to Endo, when he's come in, he's done what he's asked, and he knows he's not going to play next week. He knows he'll be on the bench, but he knows when he comes on, he'll do his job for his team. And he does need
throughout the team. I think it actually goes throughout the team. I mean, look at Joe Gomez coming on, takes his opportunity, doesn't kick up a fuss. Exact same situation where he was about to be sold this week over the summer, and he could have quite easily just been like, nope, I'm not into this. I'm going to go to Crystal Palace or to Newcastle or wherever. And they kept him. And then he comes on when he's needed and he puts in performances and quotes like that. Like, the club means everything to me. He's fighting through, even though, he's had to go against adversity, I guess.
I'm telling you, he's only scored. He's scored even a cup. From him. Joe goes, he's going to get the winner in a cup final, or he's going to get you the goal that wins you the league, and then he'll never score again.
I hope it's the goal that wins you the league, because that would be fantastic.
I mean, because it means we win the league. That's fantastic. But yeah,
Joe's nice. That's the only goal he scores. He goes, "That's it, right? I'm done."
Ever, now.
Joe's certain
style, like, screamer.
Yeah, Joe's certain that he's going to score one day, and then I also like this one, which is, I definitely would have got a yellow if I scored today. I'm not going to lie. If Joe Gomez scores, I might get a yellow for taking my top off in Anfield. I will run there. It seems so.
Fly to Anfield.
All I've got in my head.
Take your shirt off.
The only thing I've got in my head with Joe Gomez is Alan Kennedy's winning in the Champions League final, where he goes, Alan Kennedy, the unlikely man. And I kind of feel that will be the Joe Gomez goal. We'll just go like, how's he's won it? It's Joe Gomez. It's got to be one of those games.
Yeah, and there's a couple more quotes that Ashley has here from Joe Gomez for us. We didn't want to be in that position in the first place, but it's another great night at Anfield. The support and atmosphere at Anfield gave us the push. I know it's cliche. We needed a bit more bite. That was evident in the second half. Luckily, we don't have a Luis Suarez in the team
not Suarez,
to just play into that. Joe, when he was told he was coming on at halftime, his first question was, is Ibu okay? Then you don't even have time to think. You're just told you're coming on. So that's professionalism. That's when you guys were talking about Endo there being a consummate professional. Those quotes that I'd say from Ashley, from Joe Gomez really, really jumped out to me. And then on Konate, Arne Slot had to say, a lot of pain at halftime, disappointment he had to go off. Good thing is I have two very good options in Kwanzaa and Gomez. Kwanzaa was tired at the end of Brighton, felt I had to bring in someone fitter than Jarrell was. Konate, don't know yet, not been to hospital. About Konate, he continues to say he may not even have to go yet. It's always too early to say just after the game. So it's obviously one of those, the swelling has to go down situations. It seems like the atmosphere was A1 because even Hertzler, the Brighton coach, says the performance was easily good enough to win this game, especially the first half. We got a little bit, I'm presuming that means distracted by the atmosphere, and these things are important for the result. So, I mean, Brighton did play well. You got to give them, as Arne Slot says, credit to Brighton. They showed up and weren't afraid to play out from the back, energy without the ball, and we didn't show up at all. If you face a team like these, you have to keep running. So we changed. Players showed a different attitude and intensity in the second half. Start of the second half, we were dominant, creating chances. We had so many on the bench who could make a difference. No one deserved to be taken out second half. Jones, Diaz, no risk when you're 1-0 down. Intensity without the ball, quality with it. So, I mean, Kev, that kind of goes to what you pointed out, the changes at halftime there. Like, it was obvious that something needed to change.
Yeah.
Arne Slot recognized that probably better than anybody, made the changes, and gets the result.
It all came down to controlled aggression, really. You know, it was don't do anything stupid, don't get anyone sent off, but you have to be more aggressive and don't give Brighton time to settle on the ball and play their passing patterns. Like I said, we were lucky to be in it at halftime. I mean, 1-0, we were lucky to get away with it at 1-0. But credit where it's due, second half, we turned up, and for the majority of that second half, we were the better side. And look, we took the chances that were presented to us, but in fairness, we created some really good chances as well in that second half. So I think 2-1, I wouldn't say it's it's a result you'll take, but I think Brighton fans will definitely be kicking themselves for not being further ahead in that first half. I mean, more power to us. We've lost once against a Nottingham Forest side who looked like they're flying out of the table.
A third in the league, to be fair to them.
Yeah.
Give them credit.
You know, they've backed up their win against us, against everyone who they've come up against so far. So look, we're in a good spot. We're top of the league, and it's up to us to make the run in there. Force them to catch us, and as long as we can do our job, we'll be fine. But
maybe West Ham should go for Alvarez instead.
There were some really, really good performances in that second half, but it was great to see the subs that came on had a real impact. They all had a real impact, a real positive impact as well. So, you often see. I mean, we saw it the other night where the subs came on and it was meek. It was like, you're just resting players. Really, they're just coming on to give someone, even the main lads that came on the other night against Brighton didn't really do much. Today, the ones who came on sharpened their elbows and said, look, here's what I can do. No more than Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez was absolutely outstanding. He definitely looked like when he came on, he had a point to prove. It was nice to see him going up for corners. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like something Klopp never let him do because of his pace and his recovery pace on the counter. But it goes to show he is a threat in the air. He had those two good chances that were both. He got both of them on target. His runs were really good to make the space in the first place. So look, if he plays and he keeps getting into positions like that, that first goal will come, and he won't be one and done. He'll score a few.
Yeah, there's another quote here that I missed when I was going through. Slot talking about Gomez says a lot about his mentality and quality. If you come in a game where your mates were outplayed, he's able to play the 90 minutes on Wednesday, and this performance, a top pro, always gives the best for the team. Got his reward today. Fans loved him. I'm guessing, Kev, that makes Joe Gomez your man of the match as well?
Comfortably. I mean, I'll be honest, I thought first look, game of two halves. Yeah, Costas did fine. I know people will blame him, say he could have done more for their goal, maybe, but I think that's really being harsh. But I think Costas was okay, was good. The rest of them in the first half were just outplayed. They were just outnumbered all over the pitch, couldn't get a foothold in the game. But the second half, the substitutions made. It literally, Gomez's performance was infectious, and it fed into everyone else, and everyone else seemed to feed off of it. And I've no doubt in my mind he is man of the match. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. Close second. I'm not even going to give an honourable mention because you guys throw your names in, but
so Ashley's already got hers in.
Yeah, Ashley went real early.
You can't have Joe Gomez. Ashley already got it.
Well, I'm going with Joe. I'm backing Ashley up. Ashley knows.
There's no rule that you can't pick the same person. It's
of course there is. Come on, you gotta be different.
Chris, are you going to be different, or are you going to go with Joe Gomez as well?
I'll be different. I actually thought Curtis Jones made a big impact when he came on. The answer is Joe Gomez, but I thought Curtis Jones gave us that spark in midfield that we were missing, and that drive. And to me, he's played himself into the starting lineup. And to me, Maka and Szoboszlai have got to fight now for who starts against Leverkusen and Villa. Because to be fair, I think Gravenberch and Jones should be starting Holden too.
Yeah, he's not put a foot wrong. That's why I wanted to see him start this match and the last match. But we move onwards and upwards. I'm sure he'll take it from there. I think that Joe Gomez is also probably the correct answer. I would give a shout out just on the balance of in the first half, the only one of our players I think that had any amount of credit to their name was probably Cody Gakpo. He seems like he is.
To be fair, Costas probably as well. I know people will be shocked that I'm being nice to Costas, but actually he was fine first half and he was really good second half. So credit for his due. And he's not to blame for that first goal. That's definitely on McAllister.
No, it's but yeah, it's I just feel like Cody Gakpo right now is undroppable.
Yep.
He might need to be rotated for Leverkusen on Tuesday, and that might be fine, but he's got to be. And I mean, it's unfortunate for Luis Diaz because Diaz hasn't done anything wrong. And again, his song is incredible. But at the moment, I mean, 3 goals in 4 or 5 days now for Joe Gomez. It's a pity he can't play Brighton or in the League Cup every single match, but I felt that he deserved an honorable mention for it. And then just Trent defensively, this was the first comment that Ashley had put in for us, and it was Trent won the most tackles, 7, the most duels against Brighton today. So it's for as absolute piss poor as he was with the ball at his feet when he was being attacked against. His defending was fantastic.
Madge made a point of Darwin, and it definitely deserves a mention because he fed off scraps in a large part of it. He was really unlucky with that chance he made for himself. Took the ball down really well, created the space brilliantly. It was one of the. I wish he'd have rifled it near post.
Yeah.
I wish he'd have rifled it near post. Shortest point between the ball and the back of the net was to the near post. But when he was in the box as well for Gakpo's goal, even just making a nuisance of himself. But his energy was decent. His energy and when he was able to get some service, it was fine. I had no problem with him, and he definitely did okay. But I think on another day he'd have walked away with a brace today. On another day because
he'll save that for Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's a quick turnaround. I know it's a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, and we don't get many of them, but it's a really quick turnaround now to Tuesday night against Leverkusen. I don't know. I think Leverkusen might have played last night. I'll just have a quick look there now and see, but I'm nearly certain they would have played last night.
They did. Yeah,
0-0 against Stuttgart. Not exactly having a stellar season. They're still fourth in the Bundesliga. They're sitting on 16 points, 7 points behind Bayern Munich with the same number of games played. They've made some changes. They're still a quality outfit. Brought in some players as well. It'll be a tough night on Tuesday night again. But look, we're here for it.
At home.
Exactly. We definitely need a home game. And the beauty of it is, look, at the minute we're 3 from 3 in the Champions League. It's not imperative that we go and win every single game, but if we can manage to make it 4 from 4, it softens the rest of the group stage massively, because arguably the 3 wins that we have at the minute will see us into at worst the playoffs. From if we went and lost every game now, 9 points should see you at least into the playoffs. But if you go 4 from 4, it allows you a bit more comfort in the last few fixtures, even when one of them is Madrid.
Yeah, which would be nice to take some pressure off of that. As Garmac, the resident metalhead, points out, Liverpool FC, 15 games played, 13 wins, 1 draw, 33 goals scored, 10 goals conceded, but we're not playing well or come up against anyone good. And this one from Gurdeep Sandhu from even, I think, before we even went live, is just wondering, Ashley, have we played anyone yet?
Statistically, yes, but according to the media, no.
Despite the fact that our road is almost identical to City's.
Yeah.
Ironically.
It does matter.
I think also Slot. They said that was Slot's the best ever start after 10 league games.
8 wins out of 10, I think, is the best for any Liverpool manager ever.
Yeah. Can we talk about the other results? Because
I guess if we have to, Chris,
can I just spell one myth? Because honestly, for my sins, I had TalkSport on driving back, listening to the Arsenal game, and they literally had a 10-minute debrief on how Liverpool and Arsenal be kicking themselves not taking advantage of City's injury list, because it's a horrendous injury list. I saw the City squad today. There was no Rodri, who was a massive loss, no Grealish, no Oscar Bob. That was it. It was 3. And Arsenal's big drop.
Savino too, right?
No, he was on the bench.
Was he?
I said
he was saying he was going to be out for a week.
Yeah, he died. He died. He was on a stretcher. He was on the bench. I think he even came off the bench.
Christian Eriksen, Tim.
And for Arsenal, they had no Calafiori and no Odegaard. So Saliba started from his suspension. Gabriel started. Timber started. They kept Partey at right back. They brought Ben White off the bench. So all these injuries they've got, honest to God, it's literally 3 and 2. Liverpool have got, I think, 3 or 4, honestly. But I saw second half of the Arsenal game was ridiculous, because it shows the problem Arsenal have got is when they're expected to win and when the pressure's on them to chase a goal. I'm not sure that manager knows what to do for chasing goals. He's good at holding wins, And I said that at the start of the season, said, if you're chasing a goal, you want to be City or Liverpool with their squad and their management. If you want to hold on to a 1-0 win, you want Arsenal because the way they're built. I don't think Nick Pope had anything to do. I think they had 1 goal line clearance. Was that it?
Didn't you say they had an XG of 0.0?
That's what I had read before, but the fellows before we started the show told me that they did in fact have a shot on goal, so they must have had at least.
Yeah, they had 1 goal line clearance. They had a goal line clearance. That was it. But
yeah, Arsenal had an XG today of 1.11. Newcastle's was 0.75.
I was
they had 10 shots, but only 1 on target. But it was a sitter. It was Declan Rice towards the end of the game. Cross came in, and he did. All he had to do was get it on target, and it was in. They wouldn't have deserved it, but I honestly expected them to pull it back and get a draw. It's just how they've been going this season. But look, Man City and Arsenal. Look, they're 2 good sides. They'll win plenty of games this season, both of them. But I've felt for a while now with Man City, especially, they're having to play too good to get 1-goal wins, and eventually it was going to bite them. And as we've seen when we've played Bournemouth are a good side and they can counter. They're very like prime Crystal Palace from a few years ago. Remember when Crystal Palace would break on you with Zaha on one side and someone else, it didn't matter who it was, Balassi or the other fella that used to be at Swansea. Can't remember his name now.
Ayew? Townsend?
Yeah, Jordan Ayew. They would cause havoc to Man City because of the way they played on the counter. Bournemouth can do that for fun, and they can play football as well. So this result for Man City isn't a surprise. It's probably been coming for a while, but it just goes to show now the draw. Arsenal were okay drawing against us as long as they beat Newcastle, beat Chelsea. The draw against us now looks painful.
That Chelsea game looks like a big one.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, look, if this block of games now for Arsenal is season. I mean, I think this weekend for Arsenal is season defining. It will take a massive drop from us or City for Arsenal to get back into a title race. From even with 10 games played, being I think it was 8 points off, 7 points off the top or something stupid, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's that.
It's a lot to make up, and they look like they're devoid of ideas, and confidence looks like it's not there.
It is a lot when you're chasing 2 teams as well.
Yeah, it is, and you can see the difference in what it takes out of a club and a side when they now know that draws aren't good enough, and losses can be terminal. Even draws are bad, but losing games, it doesn't matter what it is. If you fall behind against us or City, you're going to suffer for it, and it's up to us to make them suffer, and we did today.
Good job. Easy. Good job. The next 2 games are easy. It's only Inter Milan away and Chelsea away.
Which Scouser Pete is saying Chelsea looks like a massive banana skin for Arsenal. I said it on. I can't remember if it was one of our post-match shows or the weekend review I did with Gav on Monday this week, where I nailed my colors to the mast. I think Arsenal are going to finish below Chelsea this year in the league. I think Chelsea are a serious outfit this year. And as people are mentioning here, Arsenal look like they're wobbling. Somebody mentioned, it was Madge Apple mentioned that Pep rested the Norwegian robot in the cup. And Chris, you mentioned Declan Rice needing to do better with the header at the back post. Ashley, did you see Holland's chance at the end of the game today?
I didn't. I'm going to have to go back. I have something to look forward to.
Check your WhatsApps.
Oh my. It's the sort of thing that it is the sort of thing the worst element of the Liverpool online fan base would expect from the worst version of Darwin Núñez. I don't know how he doesn't score to tie that game up and leave us all fuming. It was absolutely glorious. And then, the other 2 games that were on today, poor fucking Ipswich.
They can't buy a win, can they? Calvin Phillips again?
I think this run of games, Chris, is going to be, when you look back on it at the end of the season, this is going to be where their chances are just.
They feel like Sheffield United of last year, don't they? They just
I feel like they're better. I feel like they're a little bit better. Like they do
are.
well in the first half of games. They just can't see it out.
Yeah.
But experienced player again. Calvin Phillips gets himself sent off. You can't keep doing it.
And Calvin Phillips is a shitbird.
Except
Like-
to some
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
and whoever sells Kleenex box
Oh.
shoes. And then
Oh my god! Oh my
What?
god! I just
What's
seen
up?
it. Oh my god!
Oh, you seen the Harlow a live
Oh my
reaction?
god!
Yeah.
Oh my
it's
God.
bad. Actually, give it a watch. Well, we just mentioned that
Just,
Robert
just
McGuire.
mute yourself there, Ashley.
Oh no!
and
Don't
watch
mute
it.
yourself. Let us.
No,
hear
you need to. You need to.
So he's
I
not
don't know if I'll
Right.
be able to get it because of like the
But-
TV rights.
But it's
I'll look. I'm gonna look.
Okay. The Everton one, yeah, they equalised in the 89th minute and then they got VAR'd. So, I mean, there's more Premier League corruption there for Everton to moan about, probably.
Did
But
they still
Southampton
have
getting
the
a win.
green cards, or did they throw them out at the end of last season?
I can't remember. They probably still got them somewhere. They've got yellow ones now.
I'll tell you what. It's two massive games tomorrow. Two absolute humdingers. I'm not going to be. I'm out tomorrow. I won't be able to see either of them. But Spurs against Villa, it's massive. And Manchester United against Chelsea. Manchester United.
Sunday.
I think this is a game Chelsea have to go there and win. You know, irrespective of
Sorry, Ashley's just the reaction says it all.
irrespective of where Manchester United are in the league. If Chelsea harbour ambitions of being in a title race, they have to be going there to win tomorrow. And if they do, then they're challenging. They're no doubt. They're a very young squad, but they've got some really good players.
They'll be first to win tomorrow.
But you throw enough muck at the wall, eventually something will stick. And they've spent enough money over the last couple of summers for them to be able to assemble the semblance of a good, 1 to 16 to pick from. And they look like they have a belief about them. They're not unbeatable by any stretch. They'll still lose games, but they'll be competitive this season. And I think these are Chelsea and Manchester United, Arsenal, Villa, these kinds of. If you have ambitions of wanting to go and win a title, you pick 3 points up from them, and they're going to be big threes.
Yeah.
Not all 3 points are the same.
Yeah, Kev, you mentioned you throw enough at the wall, eventually it'll stick. That just reminds me of the biggest disappointment I had this weekend was learning some scientist somewhere that has way too much funding to do their research has come out with a paper that says, no, in fact, a monkey with a typewriter would never be able to reproduce Hamlet in the length of time that the universe would exist. And that just really so that's me and the monkey now will neither be able to rewrite Hamlet, and that's a real disappointment, bummer. But what wasn't a major disappointment and bummer was how we turned that game around in the second half and put ourselves back nicely on top of the league. It is a lovely weekend of sport, as Kev has pointed out. We got a little bit of Formula One coming down to the nitty-gritty of it. If you're into the Canadian football, which I'm presuming I'm probably the only person in here that is, it is playoff time this weekend. I would say congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, but fuck Todd Bowley and fuck the New York Yankees. There was no winner in terms of baseball this year. It was an absolute lose-lose on who won the World Series this year. But what wasn't a lose-lose?
Noah Lyles won the World Series this year. Noah Lyles wins the World Series every year.
If you know,
you know.
If you know, you know. That's a good callback to Olympic time there, Kev. I like that. It's
Fingers crossed LFC women can win tomorrow and make it a perfect weekend.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, a Man United loss, I think, is literally a perfect result weekend because it's Manchester City, Arsenal, I guess, is included in there now. Everton lost. So, yeah, we need an LFC women win and a Manchester United loss tomorrow. And that is a just absolute perfect weekend of sports. Ashley, anything else before we get out of here?
I am just so glad that we capitalized today. So glad. Like when you texted me and City went down rather, by 2, and we weren't winning, I was panicking. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be horrible. My weekend's gonna be ruined. So thank you to Arne Slot and all of the team for not ruining my weekend because everything looks rosy now.
That's absolutely right. Kev, anything before we go out of here? Who's winning the Formula One?
It would be a perfect weekend if Max Verstappen crashes out and Lando Norris picks up a win and it keeps it ticking over. But it's in Brazil. I love Interlagos, a great circuit. So I think the sprint race is today and the race is tomorrow. But look, we can all sit down and watch Match of the Day tonight and just relax, have a few cans and enjoy.
Yeah, that is absolutely what we're all here for. If you have access to Match of the Day, that is over on my side. It's almost impossible. Chris, any final words?
No, nothing from me.
Well, as Red Steve says, Joe Gomez. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please hit the like button. As Garmac pointed out, we had like 240 people in here. Less than half of them have chosen to hit the thumbs up button. I don't know what more you want from us. I don't know what more you want from the Reds. We're all here talking, waxing lyrically about Arnie's glorious slot machine. Everything is all good in Liverpool land. Thank you for joining us. Please, if you can, help us out with our 2 charities because you know that's what's important around this channel. But until then, you'll have Gav and the boys tomorrow night. Possibly a weekend review show coming on Monday. And then Tuesday, we'll be back here again to talk about Liverpool against Leverkusen in the Champions League, hopefully talking about another fantastic win for the Reds. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Up the Reds, top of the league.